Welcome back, viewers at home. I am tonight joined by Ibrahim Bam as well as Coach Roman, who will share their insights on the Deen Team Warriors. Wow, what a tongue twister. Now, their unique approach to personal growth, drawing from the life lessons of Islamic saints and strengthening bodies through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling and fostering community through competition. Now, I'm so excited to understand more on their journeys and what actually the program itself will offer students and how does it create that balance between physical well-being and spiritual development in that sense. But Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah so much for joining me, gentlemen.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now, my first question to you, and I think it will be directed to you, Coach Roman, is can you tell me a bit more about Deen Team Warrior?
I think where I can start off with the Deen Team Warriors is we go a bit back into history and we look at the Abbasid Khilafah and we ask ourselves the question of what it is to be a man and how it coincides with the Deen Team Warriors and what we bring from that Khilafah and how they established 5 principles of what makes a man and what can help a young man grow into a man
Okay.
is essentially, firstly, is we look at talim, we look at, we also look at a skill, so a skill to make him financially independent. We look at sunnah sports, so getting involved in physical sports as well, and specifically derived from the sunnah. We also look at tarbiyah, as well as the last one I'm missing out, is serving the community, serving humanity. And I think from the Deen Team Warriors, we are focusing a lot on sunnah sports as well as tarbiyah.
And I believe, Ibrahim Bami, you're also the coach. And just for correction, are you part of a Deen Team or you also coach for a different program?
Yes, I'm also just part of Deen Team. And yeah, I'm just helping out there. It took a while to get traction, but we're getting there in Northcliffe. We're getting some consistency at last. At least about 5 or 6 students every week. And it's growing. So we're seeing that growth, which is good. And yeah, no, they are learning a lot, which is making them much better people. And it's nice to see it as they grow up.
Alhamdulillah, we are very grateful for that because we understand that when we talk about what makes a man in the current world, it's more on financial success rather than character success, rather than the ability to serve community, the ability for talim, and the many aspects that you actually even highlighted. And I think now this brings me back to my second question is how do we then strike the balance between the physical aspects of your program and the spiritual aspects, because you can wonder when people are now wrestling, how do you then fit in the khutbah or the conversation around spiritual growth?
So the program every week consists of 2 hours, and out of that 2 hours, we take close to half an hour on a small talk or lecture, which will highlight the lives of the prophets. So currently, we've gone through the prophet of Yusuf and how that story resonates with the youth, as well as also lessons that the youngsters can learn on how to deal with life in general. And it fits so perfectly into what we're trying to do with the jiu-jitsu, that a man is not only about being strong and being able to take on the world in that sense and showing how macho you are, but also able to control yourself and control that anger. And that's also derived from the sunnah, that it's not only about showing what a man you can be, but it's also showing the restraint in times of difficulty, in times when people actually push you to that edge.
Now, Coach Ibrahim, for you, and I think I'm going to be throwing you on the spot because this is something that really, it's a question now that has me like, okay, I need to ask this. We know that the month of May really commemorates men's mental health. And I think seeing the space that you guys are in terms of creating that spiritual balance and physical balance, how would you, if right now you're sitting with a group of men, were to address men's mental health?
Tough one.
Do you feel comfortable, Coach Roman, to also jump in and just answer the question?
No, it is a tough one, and mental health, men's mental health is very close to my heart. Like, with my family and that, like, we take it seriously. And we don't see it, a man to have a strong mental health isn't just about showing off that he is strong. Like, you know, and how do I say this? But it's about, it takes a lot of caring, if I can say. To be able to care for us, for others is also important on men's mental health. So that caring nature or emotional nature in for a man, it also needs to be expressed to like, you know, to get others, to help others. It's not always about being a hard heart and a, like, you know, a hard mind where you're just showing off that no, you are strong, and meanwhile deep down inside is you're taking a beating. So the mental health of our students, if we take it back there, we are trying to get them not only to be able to fight for what's right, but also to be able to care for others, also to be able to be willing to learn and you know, and serve the community with whether it's in that caring nature or in monetary nature, as long
As having
as long
empathy.
as
Also
as
having
long as
empathy for others.
is that they can take care of others and show that caring nature in them.
Amazing. Roman?
I think it's also about men can be vulnerable with the right people. So that's an important one, as long as you, and I guess your family is the first line of where you can be vulnerable with your family. Maybe not everyone, but I think that's something that men can definitely be comfortable with doing. And in so, it doesn't make you any less of a man. To shed a tear, we look at the Sunnah, how the Sahaba cried, being able to be vulnerable for the correct things. Listening to that Quran, how it touches your heart. Love and empathy for one another. The Sahaba weren't shy of tears. There was no point where they ever were shy of tears. Abu Bakr was known for making salah and crying in salah. So these are things that we need to re-establish as men, and what makes men strong men. And where better to look at the Sahaba.
And I think also
That's
another
true.
example that tend to slip our mind, the whole conversation of Zammiluni, you know, Nabi Sallam went and like literally sought that space, or went to Khadija radiallahu anha, who was there for her, who is who was his wife in that aspect. And I think also, as you're saying, that safe space. The safe space doesn't mean that it's just a man. It can be your mother, it can be your sister, it can be your wife in that instance. But Jazakallah so much for sharing that. And I think just coming back to the students, how do you then assess the ability that, you know what, that balance is being achieved of, you know, because I mean, physical success of the program, you see them training properly, doing properly, but spiritual, how do you then measure that?
So actually, what we do is we have like a competition kind thing,
Okay.
where, because the Deen team is so vast, we have already now like 5 or so different groups that are busy,
Localities,
in
Training
different
localities.
areas. So there's few different coaches, few different Molanas that are teaching these programs, and how we measure this is with we have like a small competition. It's not to like just show off, but it's to see if the students are actually learning something. And in this competition, to get that balance, as you are asking, it's a mixture of both. It won't be, okay, no, if you win in the wrestling, okay, yeah, you won.
Yeah.
It's, you're going to prepare a speech of something that you've been learning for the past few months, a story or a year, is the year.
Yeah,
But over the past year, you'll prepare that speech or presentation, and then you'll deliver it, and you'll be scored on that. And then also on the wrestling, they'll have the tournament, and then they'll be scored on that. And then both scores will give you your final result. So that's how we're trying to get that balance. And if you can't do just the jiu-jitsu, or you can't do just okay, you can the tarbiyah, but we said it's one thing. So you're coming together for the class for one class. It's not I'm coming for the jiu-jitsu, or I don't want to learn the stories today. It's you coming for one class. It doesn't. It's not a division
Either
in
or.
yeah.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
one thing, one group, and one competition.
Now, outside of, we've mentioned the physical benefits, we've mentioned spiritual benefits. What other benefits do you see the participants gaining from this Deen Team Warriors program?
The biggest thing I'll highlight is confidence.
Okay.
We see our young boys walking in, and we see already seeing a difference as the months go by. Confidence in the sense of how they portraying themselves, how they're walking, how they're talking to the other boys. They're coming in as meek, small, young boys coming to learn a new skill, and you see them walk with a pep in their step as the months go by. And I think that's the biggest thing I can take away from what are the boys taking out of this. It gives a young man a sense of accomplishment. It gives a young man a sense of pride and a healthy pride.
And for you, Coach Ibrahim?
Yeah, no, his coach man said like to see the guys grow and develop that like is it like a fighter mentality, or like that, like you're saying, that confidence is it just grows over like, and very quickly in a short space of time. You'll see he was very shy. He was like, no, he doesn't want to do it. Not that he doesn't want to do it, but he was like, taking it easy, and now to see that confidence now, and he's taking it to the next level, and he's like trying harder, and he's like, no, like you can see it build up, which is it's a really great thing to see.
Now, earlier on, you mentioned that there is a competition amongst the students, and we know some personalities are very competitive, where it's like, go in or go home. How do we then, through the tournaments, achieve the idea of, camaraderie and pride among participants, where we don't just look at the end goal of winning or succeeding in that sense, but also the idea of also growing to say, okay, I wasn't good at this, but it's okay because I'm good at other aspects of the program or the journey itself.
So from what you're asking is what else is built in not only in competition but camaraderie between the students.
Yeah.
I think, but one thing I'll highlight is a good sense of brotherhood between the boys. You see the friendships improving. You see the boys building relationships between one another in the dojo.
Okay.
And probably they would have never met each other in any other sense unless they came to the dojo. And that's a very nice thing to see, where now the boys are ending up spending some time after the class together. They're going to buy some Burger King and spending some time together. So that ends up happening. So I think that's an additional to just having competition with one another. And there's something unsaid about combat sports, where you're getting up and close with each other. There's bound to be some sort of a mix of brotherhood that's going to happen when that happens.
Would Coach Ibrahim like to extend on that?
Yeah, no, it is that brotherhood, which is really good in nowadays time, like when we see everything is going more isolated, social media, everyone is more on their own, and that.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see the way we started. We said, no, you know what, we need to get this community together. The guys are not seeing seeing each other anymore.
Yeah.
Like they see each other, they don't even greet. You don't even see, like back in the day, like we used to go to mosque and everyone knew everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone used to greet everyone, everyone. And nowadays you're seeing it start to go away. It starts to fade. And to get now the guys together and have something to bring them together, it's a real nice thing to see as them hanging out, and and hanging out in good company and in a good space. Because nowadays also we know how it is out there, where guys are hanging out for different reasons, which is un-Islamic and not in the correct places. So to see them come and hang out near the mosque and and spend some time together at the mosque and not do those other wrongs out there, which is it's really nice, and it's a good achievement. Yeah.
Coaches, Jazakallah so much for joining me tonight and really just giving us an insight in terms of what Deen Team is offering the young students or the students in general in terms of not only physical growth in that sense, but also spiritual development. And Jazakallah so much for joining us. And we're hoping that viewers at home, if you're someone who feels like this is a space for your child to, develop in terms of confidence, develop in terms of forming relationship outside of, being socially, shackled by their devices, but also just forming human relationships with fellow brothers, and especially brothers in Deen in that sense, make sure you do hit them up. I believe you guys are on socials.
Yes.
Yes.
The deenteam.org.
.org.
Deenteam.org. Make sure you do find out more through their website and connect with them and also show some support. But viewers at home, that's where we close it off for now. Let's head over to another break. We'll see you just after this.